Hi, everyone. How are you today? What are you drinking? I am drinking Jasmine Silvertop tea, the Stephen Smith spring tea. So, yes, excited about that. I have Bentley here on my lap. So, yeah. Oh, and happy Survivors Day, Cancer Survivor Day. Yesterday was Cancer Survivors Day, but I think, again, like Earth Day, every day should be Cancer Survivors Day. It is definitely a journey. So, yes. Um, all right. And happy Pride Month. Also, we do not discriminate here because cancer does not discriminate. Cancer does not care what color you are, what sex you are, what you do with your life. Cancer, it targets you regardless. So, yes. All right. Speaking of which, animal therapy. We're going to get into that today. Benefit of animal therapies. Unfortunately, it does target our animals as well. But we're going to talk about how animal therapy benefits us. So, speaking of which, we do have our co host here, Bentley. He's laying down in my lap. So, yeah, I think he'll probably make an appearance soon. But so, what does animal therapy do? Animal therapy reduces anxiety and stress, particularly during treatment, and it provides a calming effect even during difficult treatments like chemotherapy. So, in my past videos, when I talk about how when you're anxious about something or when you're stressing about something, it works on your system, your bodies, and it creates cells that then in turn helps the cancer cells. So when you're not anxious or stressed, your immune system can do what it needs to do because it's not working overtime. It's working on what needs to be done. So it helps, animal therapy helps reduce that so your immune system can do what it needs to do, what it's meant to do. It also can improve mood and emotional well-being. So it can reduce feelings of depression and loneliness. It can give you a reason to live. So remember the Radical Remission, Radical Hope books that I was talking about at the beginning with the 10 things that people who went into radical remission to treat their cancer, 10 things they all had in common. One of them was a reason to live. So if you have an animal that you love so much, they can give you a reason to live. Like this one is my reason to live, or one of my reasons to live. But yes, so I get it. I understand that it can be a reason to live. It can also help with pain management. It can help distract from pain and discomfort, particularly reducing the need of medication. Physical touch of a therapy animal can also promote relaxation and release endorphins, which have a pain relieving effect. So, medications can be good and helpful sometimes, but it's always best if we don't have to take medication. Like if you can do something more natural to really relieve you from that pain. So, for example, like if you have a headache, and it's best that if you can lay down, take a nap to get rid of that headache versus taking an aspirin or taking a Tylenol. Like so it's best to do that. So if it helps relieve your pain, it distracts you. So who knew animals could help relieve pain? Well, I did, but anyways. It also gives increased social interaction and companionship. It encourages you to interact with others and improve communication with healthcare professionals. The presence of an animal can create more relaxed and open environment, making it easier for you to share your feelings and needs. This, I will say, is true, because you're sitting there petting the animal, you're talking to it. A doctor could probably get more out of you that way than they could if you didn't have that animal in the room. My husband's an emergency veterinarian, and let me tell you, people will not shut up in the room. In a good way. They keep on talking and everything. The animal's in there, it relaxes them. And a lot of times he can get more out of them when the animal is in the room than he can when he goes in there and the animal's not in there. It just gives people a sense of calm and just to be able to open up about things. They're amazing that way. Also, it can improve quality of life by improving emotional and physical well-being. It helps you cope better with the challenges of cancer, leading to a more positive and hopeful outlook. Can enhance healing environments. It can also give you a distraction from treatment, which is so true. So remember, I think a couple episodes ago, I was talking about when I worked on, when I worked on the cruise ship, this kid he cut his hand or something. And when I was going to get him a Band-Aid, the first thing I did, I just held his arm up. So one, because it was bleeding, so hold it above his heart. So I held his hand up or arm up. And then two, so he couldn't see it. So, some people, the sight of blood, they freak out, they pass out, or, they just can't handle it. Other people, it doesn't bother them. So you never want to take that chance. So I did that so he couldn't see it. One, to help the bleeding, one, so he couldn't see it. But then I started talking to him about different things to do on the ship and what he had done, and just distracting him from what I was doing. And it was over and done with. Or like, have you ever went to go get a shot? Most of the time, it was probably when you were a kid. A lot of times they don't do it as much with adults. Some do, some really good nurses do, but they sit there, and if they're giving you a shot, they're sitting there talking to you, asking you about different things and everything, and they're over and done with before you even realize it happened. So yes, it gives you that distraction from your treatment. So animals do the same thing. You're focused on them, you want to pet them and everything and talk to them. So it gives you that distraction from your treatment. It also increased physical activity. So if you have the ability, you are able to go walk them. They have to walk, they go outside to use the bathroom. Most of them do. I did have a dog that used paper. But it took forever before him to use the bathroom outside. It was I thought it was cute and funny. My mom didn't. But anyways, I guess he thought that we used the bathroom inside. So he used the bathroom inside. I mean, we would have him outside all day long. And nope, never used the bathroom. When we got home, he went running in the house right to the paper, like as if we would go running to the toilet. It was funny. It wasn't until he was older he decided to use the bathroom outside. We were like, oh my God, this is, and so exciting. And he looked at us like we had three heads. Like, what? Like, I've been doing this the whole time. It was funny. Yes. So we, and also too, physical activity, sorry, went on a little tangent there. One of the things in the book, and the reason that she came out with Radical Hope and added a 10th thing, was exercise. When she realized as I told you, she realized the first book that people didn't talk about exercise because a lot of those people were so weak at that point, they really couldn't exercise. So then the more people she talked to, she realized they were adding that in. And so even the smallest exercise with dogs, so even if you are weak and you can't get up and exercise, you're still like moving your arm to pet them. You're still doing a physical activity with them, even if it's the smallest physical activity that is good for you. So whether it's petting them, whether it's moving, bending over, anything to pet them or get their attention is good. So it increases your physical activity because those are things you wouldn't do before. All right. So, Brandy, I don't have a dog or I don't have an animal. I can't, I don't have the money to do that. I can't, I don't have the ability to care for one. A lot of, that's okay. How do you do? There's many ways that you can still get animal therapy without without having an animal. So you should always check your local animal therapy. Google it. A lot of cities have an animal therapy program that they'll go to hospitals, they'll go to different charity organizations, they'll go to courthouses, they'll go to jobs, and these are volunteers. You can reach out, you can look that up, reach out to them, find out if they're going to be somewhere public that you're able to go to. You can do that. You can where you're getting your treatment. If you're getting treatment, sometimes that hospital has a therapy dog that comes on certain days, or therapy animals. I've seen some that have horses as therapy animals. And I've seen, some that have pigs, they have, cats, they have a lot of different therapy animals. I think there's even one I saw that had actually an alligator or a crocodile, which is very interesting. Definitely your unicorn there. So yeah, you can always, a lot of times they're around. You just have to dig a little for it. Also, too, if you want help with that, don't hesitate to leave a comment, reach out, and I can help you, see if I can help you dig for that to find out what's going on with that. Also, you can, of course, you can always adopt. I'm always up for adoption, but if, you can't afford it, you can volunteer at your local shelter. A lot of shelters, you can contact your shelters. A lot of them do different things. They have where you can take an animal out for the day. So like if you can't do some of the physical work at the shelter, you can take some of them have where you can take an animal out for a couple of hours and they wear a vest saying that they're adoptable. They adopt and they like to socialize the animals, get them out of the kennels and everything, and be able and give them more exposure. So to people, a lot of times when, I've heard stories where people do this and, a lot of animals get adopted that way because they've got more exposure. They're more themselves because they're outside of the kennel and they're not stressed either. And so you can see how they are acting or when they're outside and can be more themselves. Their personality comes out more. Also to shelters, some of the shelters have foster programs where even rescues, you can get with them. They have foster programs where you keep them for a couple of weeks, if that, or some of them you can keep where adopted or whatever. And so during the foster program, they actually pay for everything. So they pay for their food, they pay for their vet costs, they pay for all of that. You just got to give them a loving home until they're adopted or for however long an agreement for foster care. Some of the shelters also, if some of the animals have heartworms and they're going through heartworm treatment. Sorry, Bentley is trying to play on the computer here. Some of them, if they have heartworm and need heartworm treatment, they'll have fosters or ask for fosters during their treatment, and they'll pay for everything while you're fostering them. They just need to keep them out of the kennel so they can respond better to their treatment, their heartworm treatment. You have to take them to the vet and everything when you're supposed to, and they will take care of everything. And then until they're adopted, sometimes they'll take them back after the fact, and whatever works for you. Okay, so you have that option. Like I said, sometimes rescues do this sometimes as well. Also, there is a nonprofit organization called Dogs on Deployment. Now, I think this is amazing. It's also, not only is this a way that you can get animal therapy, but it's also a way that you can help out military. So, Dogs on Deployment, what they do is people are who are serving in the military, but they have animals, but they don't have family members that can keep their animals for very many different reasons. And they'll be on 2 months training mission and have to go overseas for 2 months, or go on a training mission that for a month or a couple of months that they don't have anybody to keep their animals, or that they even trust, because there's been stories out there where a person had went on a training mission for a few months and left their animal with like their roommate or friends, and they've sold them or gotten rid of them because they were tired of taking care of them or didn't want to take care of them, or very many different reasons. And these people haven't been able some of them hadn't even been able to find their animals again. And these animals truly, they help them. I mean, they're our kids. This one's my kid. And so Dogs on Deployment is done where people volunteer to keep their animals during their training missions or during their deployments, and the soldiers, they pay for everything. Like, they give you money for their food, they give you money for to take them to the vet, they pay for everything. You're just keeping them safe until they get back, and they know that they're going to have their loved one when they get back. And you communicate with them, send them pictures and everything. And you always have that option as well, depending on your situation. And so not only are you doing yourself a service, but you're also doing our military a service as well. So yes, I think that's an amazing program. It is probably definitely something we would do if this little one, ever since he lost his brother and sister, he doesn't do well with other dogs. So understandable, but he does well. We do have a cockatiel. Monty was supposed to co-host with us today, but Monty's still kind of getting settled here in our new place, and his play stand, you can kind of see it a little bit back there, isn't quite ready for him to hang out on. Once we our office / studio here is still a work in progress, which you can't see. So once we get everything settled for in here, we will definitely, you'll see him hanging out back there during our shows. So yes. But another thing, if you like to read, I will say this book is actually on my to read list, or in my wish list on Amazon. I have like these huge wish lists. I have 2 wish lists. One's books for this organization, so for the spa that I want to read or heard about and want to read, and then I have another list of like personal books that that I want to read. And so some of them, unfortunately, are not on Audible, so they definitely have to read, or I'd have to get the book. But this book is definitely one of the ones that is on the list. It's called Grace, Grit, and Gratitude, A Cancer Thriver's Journey from Hospice to Full Recovery with the Healing Power of Horses, by Tara Coyote and Linda Kavanaugh. She is actually, I know I told you about the Radical Remission podcast. This is where I learned about this book. They interviewed her for an episode with this. She loves horses. She has horses. She literally put herself in remission with these horses, the healing power of the horses. And I think it's amazing. I do want to read the book just listening to the podcast, because it talks about the power these animals have for us. And I just think it's amazing because, again, I love animals. I am a huge animal person. I connect better with animals than I do with people. it's just a gift that I've had. I've always connected with wild animals as well as domesticated animals. My dad always said his grandmother had the same effect, and um, I must have gotten that gift from her. I'd be around wild cats nobody could touch, dogs, stray dogs nobody could ever catch. They would always come to me, no problem. So I've probably met, out of all the animals, I've probably had maybe one or two that just did not connect with me. But for the most part, all of them have. My husband's the same way. I mean, even yes, he's an emergency veterinarian, but he connects very well with animals too. He has the same gift, similar gift. So that's we do a lot of focusing on animals. Um, Also, to back to animal healing as well. My mom had this little Yorkie. One of her really good friends at work had hairdresser. They had a Yorkie, and the husband had gotten their daughter a puppy because their daughter wanted the puppy. The Yorkie wasn't having the puppy. The Yorkie had been abused, I think, by the little girl and the husband. Um, we're not 100% sure on that, but allegedly. Um, and so Gidget, her name was Gidget. My parents adopted her. She attached to my mom. I think she was like 6 when they got her. I know it was in 2005, I think it was when they got her. But she became my mother's dog. When my mom was around, she wouldn't let anybody touch her. Her and I ended up bonding a little bit. And then when my mom got sick, she stuck by my mom's side. Like, she was my mom's lifesaver. We got so lucky. She never got sick the whole time my mom was sick or anything. Then after my mom went in remission, I had met Sean at the time, and my husband, and he was working in a clinic. Gidget ended up getting pancreatitis, not pancreatic cancer, oh God, pancreatitis, very severe pancreatitis. She was at the hospital he was at, and he was the overnight doctor, and he sat there and he hand fed her in her cage and sat with her. And after that, she bonded with him. And so it was when she got better, it was so cute because when we would come to the house, now remember, my mom was there, and I told you that she wouldn't have anything to do with anybody if my mom was around. When my mom wasn't around, she was like the sweetest thing, right? So when we'd get there, she would be so excited to see him. She'd get down, wags out, like give him a hug. Like, he'd pick her up, hug her, and then put her down, and then she would have nothing to do with it. Like, okay, I said my hello, you saved my life, I said my hello, and that was it. But she also would have things to do with him when my mom wasn't around. But anyways, she did very well when we kept her. At the time, we had 3 huskies and a short-haired Chihuahua, 3 Siberian huskies and a short-haired Chihuahua. And sometimes if my parents went out of town, we would keep Gidget, and she did very well with them. She scared our middle husky. It was funny to watch this little Yorkie scaring a Siberian husky. I think she just startled her, but they all did very well together. And, she thought she was like tough stuff walking with 3 Siberian huskies when we walked down the street. And nobody could mess with her. It was pretty cute and funny. But, Gidget really helped my mom through all of that. I know I told you in previous where she literally snipped out my mom's tumors. Brain tumors. I think it's very interesting. I know at one point I meant to look this up before today and totally forgot about it. But we had, I know at one point they were trying to redo the what dogs sniffed out, because a lot of dogs sniff out cancer, and what they were trying to recreate something like that. And I truly don't think they can do it, because to me, I think that's just something that's special about animals. And then two, this little one, Bentley, he saved us. After my mom passed away, my mom unexpectedly passed away of August of 2015. This little one was born November 2015. And when we went up to my grandmother's, my mother's for that Christmas, it was the first Christmas without my mom. And of course, that was very rough. And my cousin had gotten him as a Christmas present. She wanted a little purse dog. She got him as a Christmas present, and he bonded with me. I kind of thought that was just more so because he could tell that I wasn't I wasn't doing well, and so he was just trying to bring me comfort. But then a couple of days after that, my cousin texted me. They had a senior dog, and she said the senior dog was not having the puppy, so she wanted us to take him. And so, of course, I said yes, because how can you say no to this little face? And we only had one Siberian Husky at that point, Kaya, and a short-haired Chihuahua, Dresden. So we just had them two at that time. And like me, my husband Sean and I weren't married at that time, but my dad and Kaya and Dresden, their two dogs, like we were all so depressed. I mean, my dog, our dogs loved my mom, but they were upset about the loss of my mom, but then they were also feeling our grief. And so they just kind of had, double exposures, and they weren't playing or anything. And this little one came in our lives, and he brought so much joy and happiness in our lives. He got the dogs playing again and everything. And so I always say my mom sent this one to us. So as you see, he has a little white stripe on his head. My mom, she had a little, right in front of her hair, she had like a little gray streak there. So he has that. And he knows grandma. See, when you say grandma, he knows who grandma is. So we always say, and there's little things about him that we see all of our dogs in. So we feel like my mom specially made him for us. So yes. But anyways, to my point, animals are so healing. They're amazing. They can do a lot. Yeah. So they can help out a lot more than you realize. I think they're the best medicine, but that's my personal opinion. All right. Any other ideas that you guys have? Definitely throw in the comments about ways that you can do animal therapy if you're not able to have an animal. And they don't just have to be dogs. I mean, like I said, they can be horses, pigs, fish. Watching a fish is relaxing. Why do you think they have them up in doctors' offices, and hospitals now, fish tanks, or even now I think they've done the LED. At some point, that's fascinating at first, but then at some point at some point it's not as good as the real thing, right? But you have, reptiles. Some people, whatever helps you, find what helps you out and what relaxes you and keeps you calm. There's no wrong answer. Even if you just like watching wildlife, like we have little chipmunks that run outside, and it's cute watching them. If you have a squirrel, outside your house or apartment or wherever you live, like it's, deer, everything is just them in itself brings so much healing and joy and relaxation. Okay. So thanks everyone for listening. I hope this helps. if you know someone that you might think help, definitely share, like, subscribe. It's free to subscribe. I know it sounds like that, but it's free to subscribe. It just lets you know notifications, or you get notifications whenever we post. So, again, thank you. Thank you for your support. And I will see you next week under the willow tree. Have a wonderful week.